You're watching Past the Wire TV, presented by Am Wager.
Ciao tutti. Thank you everybody for tuning in to yet another episode of Past the Wire TV. One of our favorite shows to do, our weekly Thoro-Graph show. A little behind today, but those of you that follow Past the Wire, follow me and know everything that's going on. Been doing a lot of writing, a lot of digging, a lot of research, and putting out a lot of stuff that needs to be done. But that's not for this show, so we're not even going to go there. Where we are going to go before we get to the Thoro-Graph numbers and patterns for the Florida Derby on Saturday, tomorrow, where I am planning, subject to a late change, but where I am planning to head. But you never know with me. We know that. We have put up the announcement for, yes, our Kentucky Derby seminar. We're holding a limited amount of spots because we are going to make this a great experience for everybody. So I suggest get your reservation early while the price is low for what you get. And you're going to get a ton. We're really going to dissect that late pick 5 on Derby Day, closing with the Derby. We're going to include the ladies because gentlemen never forget ladies. We are going to include the Kentucky Oaks. We're going to have everything. We're going to have our PDF on each race. We're going to have CHR information. We're going to break down pace and who's running fast early and who's running fast late like you have never seen. We're really going all out. We kind of changed the game last year with the new format for the Breeders' Cup. We're taking it to an even new level. This time around, it is not too early. The information's on pastthewire.com. We'll put it in the write-up to this video and check it out. In this game, you have those who guess and those who know. At Past the Wire, we keep it grounded, but we play for scores, luxury, top shelf only. We're talking Cartier, Louis Vuitton, AMG, Louis Trey, only the very best, the kind of wins that make a difference. We are breaking down the Kentucky Derby Pick 5 and including the Kentucky Oaks because gentlemen never forget the ladies. Our all-in-one interactive PDF will be released by 5 p.m. on April 30th or sooner. Join our private Q&A that same night at 7 p.m. Let's build this together and far surpass our best results ever. And those are pretty good. Don't wait. Secure your spot now at pastthewire.com and I will see you there.
The two of them coming down to the wire. 4K on the outside and 4K to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
There you have it. We are going to roll. I think it's going to be our best one yet. Join me. We got the PDF. We got the Q&A. Bunch of other information like we did for the Breeders' Cup. That's already up there now. So if you have an early reservation, you could go on the page where everything is going to be, all the links, everything for the Derby, and already start seeing some information and stats and stuff that is relevant and will get more relevant as time goes on. But to the matters at hand, the Florida Derby. Let's run through it relatively quickly. What do we got? We got a competitive race. I only think there's 3, maybe 4 horses that can win it. I think there's actually less that can win the Arkansas Derby. We're not doing the Arkansas Derby on this show, but I don't think you can get past Renegade unless somehow Litmus Test steps up for Bob Baffert and runs a huge race, which is always possible with his horses, especially in these races. When he's got one that he's trying to get into the Derby. But I think that race really runs through those two and only those two. This one's a little bit more competitive, not a whole lot more competitive, but somewhat more competitive and a little better of a wagering affair price wise. So let's get into it. I apologize. I got one dog that was neutered, that's mad that he's not outside playing with the other dogs. Some of the other dogs are outside. So if we got some dog interference, we're just going to have to deal with it. It is what it is. But Gus is whining a little bit because he wants to be outside wreaking havoc, and he can't be. So I don't know if you could hear him or not. I could hear him, but we'll take care of him afterwards. He's fine. Trust me. Gets treated like Augustus Caesar, who he's named after. Albus from the rail. Riley Mott. What do we got? We got a horse that's got a decent pattern, likes to run 12, 12, 12, 12 and change, 12 and change, 12 and change. Probably goes forward a little bit, but not nearly fast enough to win this race. We got Chief Wallabee. Interesting horse. Did something that I consider a big sign of talent. Well, did a couple of things that I consider big signs of talent. He won his debut sprinting from off the pace and then routed and had just as good a kick first time routing coming from off the pace. And we've discussed many times how that particular scenario favors speed horses a lot more than it does closes, even though you would think, and the logical assumption is, well, if they close sprinting, they're going to automatically like more ground. They don't always have that kick. He didn't have a great trip in the Fountain of Youth, still made a lot of noise, and his pattern screams nice horse. 4 first time out, 3 next time out with the troubled trip on the stretch out. Probably goes forward again. If he does, has to be considered awfully tough. Chief Wallabee looks like Bill Mott has another very dangerous horse in the Kentucky Derby this year. Won it last year with Sovereignty. Looks like he's heading back that way again this year with Junior. We shall see. A lot can always happen. But looks really good on Saturday. Wayne's Law. What do we got with Wayne's Law? Okay, here we got a little bit more to dissect. We got 14 3/4, 12 and a half, 12 and a half, 12 and a half at 2. Kind of steady. Comes back and really makes a nice jump forward at Tampa last time out. First time 3-year-old runs 6 1/4. Getting better, getting faster. I tend to think that off that big jump forward, and we like good horses to go past or surpass their best 2-year-old number first time at 3. He certainly did that, but now he looks like he may regress a little bit off that, especially moving to tougher company at Gulfstream Park. Commandment. One of the favorites here for sure. Awfully nice pattern. 2 years old, 12, 8 1/4, 3-year-old, 5 1/2. Didn't regress in that second start, went forward again, 4 1/4. Now, in the Fountain of Youth, where he beat Chief Wallabee, he had a beautiful trip on the inside, coming up the inside, whereas Chief Wallabee didn't have that and lost some ground. So Chief Wallabee got a better number, even though he beat him, and that's a pretty strong angle. When a horse that runs behind another horse gets a better number, it's a very strong Thoro-Graph angle in my book, and one that I respect and value very highly. But Commandment, on the numbers alone, absolutely a contender. Irad Ortiz gets off him, goes to Arkansas to ride Renegade for Todd Pletcher and Michael Poli. But we got Flavian Pratt here, so no loss, maybe even a gain in some people's book. So Commandment, absolutely a contender, but based on the 2 trips last time, I'm going to give the nod to Chief Wallabee with the better number and the worst trip. Redland Rebels coming out of the Tampa Bay Derby. Yes, the Tampa Bay Derby? I believe so. Running back relatively quickly, as is the Puma, who we'll get to. But what do we got? We got 17 and a half, 11 and 3/4, 10, 9. Inching the right way. I love that. Good pattern, like that. Respect Biancone, but I think he's got a little bit too much to do to get fast enough to compete with the likes of some of the faster ones in here. Nearly, a horse that I liked last time. I don't like this time, and I caught some flack on the channel. A couple of people commented, "What about Nearly? What about Nearly?" When I did my major early Kentucky Derby contender Thorograph show. I'm sorry, I don't mean no disrespect, but Nearly did not make my list, and I actually don't like him on Saturday. Let's look at his numbers. We got a 19 and a half and a 5 and 3/4 at 2. So he made a big jump forward, and then he made even a sharper jump forward. Not as many points, but first time a 3-year-old he runs a 1, but he regresses off that to a 5. I think he goes forward off the 5. I think he bounces back off the regression. But where? I don't think he goes back to the 1. I think he goes maybe to a 4, a 3, maybe even a 2. And I think that there's a couple of horses in here that are going to run that. And last time out, when he ran that 5, it was a perfect trip against lesser. I think these are better. So he's going to have to prove to me that he can recapture that 1 type race and number against the kind of quality that he's going to face on Saturday. And I'm just not sold that he can do it, but we'll find out soon enough. But Nearly didn't make my cut. Timeless Victory. Another one with a good pattern. And we expect that 16, 16, 16, 12 and 3/4, comes back as a 3-year-old, goes past those numbers, 8, 7 and a half. I like the way this horse is progressing. 8, 7 and a half. I see a 3-4 point forward move coming that could be fast enough and enough of a move to get into the exotics at a big price. Good enough to win. I would call it a major upset. Certainly a surprise. Not going to be a win candidate for me, but certainly a horse that can get second, third, or fourth and make a triple exacta or superfecta at what should be a generous price. The Puma, interesting, and every way that a horse can be interesting. Showed a ton of talent first time out, running greenly and losing to Chief Wallabee, who ran one of the better maiden races at the Gulfstream meet this winter. No question about that. Gustavo Delgado, extremely patient, brings his horses along slowly, does not crank them up. Horse was picked up by Ramiro Restrepo, who has already shown us he can pick a Kentucky Derby winner with Mage. Had that other horse, I forget his name. What was his name? I forget the horse's name that looked like he might make it to the Derby as well. So Ramiro is no one-hit wonder or flash in the pan. He is showing what he can do, picking these horses and being a top-shelf bloodstock agent. And the Puma looks extremely interesting. The Puma runs a 4 1/4 first time out against Chief Wallabee's 4. Regresses that first start at Tampa in, what was it, the Sam Davis. Did not have the best of trips. Come back, wins the Tampa Bay Derby with a 4, was wide. Again, didn't have the best of trips in that race either. Was one of the wider horses all the way around the track. Was still able to get up and outgame Further Ado and Canaletto, 2 very, very nice horses that last 16th of a mile. I thought he kind of lugged in a little bit and was trying to get in a little bit, and Javier had to straighten him out, or he probably would have got to pass those horses a little bit easier than he actually did. I think the Puma gives Chief Wallabee all he can handle on Saturday, and I think those two are the two that the race is going to really run through, with Commandment, the other one. But I don't really. I mean, I'd like to get more creative. I can't. I think it's going to come down to Chief Wallabee and the Puma fighting it out like they did in their maiden race, unless Commandment fools me a little bit and stays with them. But I tend to think these two are gonna fight it out. Gregarious, last, maybe even least. He was a vet scratch at 2, comes back, runs 13 1/4 in his only start at 3, would take a significant move forward and a significant jump to win this race. I don't think that he can do it. So with that, I see it as primarily a 3-horse race, leaning to 2, Chief Wallabee and the Puma. Commandment is in there, but I think it's going to come down to those 3. I think the Puma is going to give Chief Wallabee a fight, probably more of a fight than anybody thinks. Chief Wallabee probably winds up a narrow favorite over Commandment. The Puma, 3rd choice, maybe even 4th choice if Neely takes more money than he does. And that does happen a lot with horses that win at Tampa Bay Downs. For some reason, they don't get the respect they deserve. But I think that could be a big mistake with the Puma in the Florida Derby. So that's how I see it. That's what the Thoro-Graph numbers and patterns tell me. Get your reservation for the Derby. If you're betting these races on Saturday, decent card at Gulfstream, not the greatest Florida Derby card, decent card at Arkansas, better card Sunday than Saturday at Santa Anita. Let's hope if you go to the races, and I'm planning on going to the races on Saturday. So if you see this on the highway after the races and a nice pick 5 payout at either Santa Anita or Oaklawn Park, it could be me.
Think horse racing is too complicated? Think again. And they're off. Every pro was a newbie once. Meet DRF Newbie, the mobile tool loaded with daily racing form data and the power of DRF AI. Get the insights you need fast so you can play smarter and feel more confident. DRF Newbie, horse racing made simple. Try it free today. Visit newbie.drf.com.
Here comes journalism, here comes sovereignty, and they square off, heading to the final front. Sovereignty wins the Derby!
You're watching Past the Wire TV. Hit that like button and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.